The IDW Sonic comics are officially canon to the games, and there's one arc where Eggman builds a weapon that Sonic can't outrun, a virus that spreads through touch and turns everyone it infects into a mindless metallic drone. Shadow is told to run. He refuses. 4 words cost him everything. Sonic himself is infected in the first act and spends 14 issues slowly losing his body. By the end, almost no one is left standing. This is the Metal Virus Saga. 20 issues. The darkest, most devastating story the Sonic franchise has ever told. And it ran in real time alongside an actual global pandemic. It starts with a flower and it ends with the entire planet. In issue number 13, Dr. Eggman is in his lab running tests on a synthetic virus that converts organic matter into metallic matter on contact. He calls it the Metal Virus. He starts small, a flower, then a picky, one of the smallest animals from the games. He has an infected animal touch a healthy one to see if it spreads through contact. It does, instantly. Dr. Eggman describes it himself. Even with the slightest exposure, my synthetic concoction spreads across organic tissue, converting it into my robotic slave. It's an army that builds itself. There's a panel where Eggman is standing over the infected test subjects. A flower, 2 animals, all completely metallic, and he's grinning. Not his usual cartoon villain grin, a quiet, satisfied one, like a scientist admiring clean data. That's what makes it unsettling. Here's the detail that matters. Eggman designed this virus specifically because of Sonic. Every weapon he's ever built, Sonic has destroyed by running through it. The Metal Virus is the one weapon where running through it makes the problem worse. Every physical contact spreads the infection. The faster you fight, the faster it spreads. The hero's greatest strength becomes his biggest liability. Meanwhile, Eggman's new assistant, Dr. Starline, a platypus fanboy who idolizes Eggman, is helping run logistics. When Eggman asks how he enjoyed his first encounter with Sonic, Starline says the experience puts things into perspective. Remember him. His decisions in this arc create consequences that define the entire rest of the series. That's the weapon, now Eggman needs a test subject. Eggman loads the virus into backpack strapped to Rough and Tumble, 2 idiot skunk mercenaries who think they're getting weapons. When they press the buttons, the metal virus covers their bodies and transforms them into Zombots. Mindless, metallic, mute. Sonic and Amy fight the newly transformed skunks and discover something terrifying. Zombots are immune to physical attacks. You can smash them, spin dash through them, hit them with a hammer. Amy knocks Ruff's arm clean off, and it reforms seconds later. Their bodies regenerate from everything. Sonic takes one look at them, metallic, shambling, mindless, and goes, Zombots. Just like that. Eggman hears it later and decides to keep the name. Even the villain admits Sonic's branding is better than his. And in the process of fighting them, Sonic gets infected. The panel is tight on Sonic's hand, just his glove. The metallic gray creeping across like liquid mercury. No dialogue, no sound effects, just the infection and Sonic staring at it. It's the quietest panel in the issue, and it hits the hardest. Sonic discovers his speed can burn the virus off. Running fast enough forces it into remission, but it doesn't cure him, it just slows it down. Silver and Tails are with Sonic when they first test this. They see him burn it off and think he's cured, but when Tails actually examines it, the infection is still there, just suppressed. Sonic tries to play it cool. Tails isn't buying the act. The writers took the fastest character in fiction and turned his speed into a ticking clock. He can't stop moving or he dies. But every fight makes the clock tick faster. That's not a power fantasy, that's a horror premise. And Eggman isn't waiting for Sonic to figure it out. He's already moving. Eggman launches his spaceship, a flying fortress that dumps the metal virus onto cities from above. His first target, Windmill Village. The same village that took him in as Mr. Tinker when he had amnesia. The same people who fed him, gave him a home, and treated him like family when he didn't remember who he was. And he doesn't just attack them, he mocks them for it. He tells them that showing kindness to him was their mistake. The comic frames it as Eggman punishing the people who helped him, specifically because they helped him. That's not strategy, that's cruelty. and the writers are making a point about who Eggman really is underneath every joke and every bumbling moment. He remembers everything they did for him, and he hates them for it. Seaside City is next. The Chaotix try to evacuate civilians to the docks, but Charmy, the youngest member, flies too close trying to rescue a woman who's already turning. He gets grabbed, and he's gone. That's one. There's a panel of Vector after it happens. He's mid-run, carrying a civilian under each arm, and his face is doing two things at once: fury and grief. But he doesn't stop. He can't. The comic gives you one panel to process and then keeps moving. Then Floral Forest Village. Cream's Chow, Cheese and Chocola get infected, protecting her and Vanilla. These two tiny creatures throw themselves between the Zombots and the family, and the virus takes them. That's 3. By this point, Sonic is running city to city, burning off his infection between fights. And in one quiet moment on the outskirts of Sunset City, he stops. The panel is wide, no dialogue, just Sonic standing on a hillside, looking back at smoke and the spaceship in the distance. Completely still. For a character who never stops moving, that stillness says everything. He's thinking about whether Shadow was right all along, whether he should have let Shadow kill Eggman when he was still Mr. Tinker. He decides he wasn't wrong, but you can feel the doubt. And then Sunset City. This is where the arc breaks open. Team Dark is handling the evacuation. Shadow arrives with a truck. He's angry, blaming Sonic for the entire crisis because Sonic refused to let him kill the amnesiac Eggman, and Shadow is not wrong. Shadow believes the ultimate life form can't be infected. He's wrong. The virus starts on his feet. He's standing in a puddle of the stuff while fighting, and the infection creeps up from his shoes. It spreads to his hands as he keeps grabbing Zombots. Rouge sees it happening. She calls out to him. She begs him to fall back. She tells him to run, to do what Sonic does, burn the infection off with speed. Shadow could save himself. The option is right there, and he looks at her and says, "Cowards run, I win." 4 words, and they cost him everything, because 30 seconds later, the Horde swallows him. That's 4, and it's the ultimate life form. Zombot Shadow throws Sonic against a truck. Sonic is pinned, looking into his rival's eyes, and there's nothing there. No ego, no rivalry, just the virus. Rouge drives the truck away with survivors. The panel is from inside the cab. The rear-view mirror is visible. Sunset City shrinking behind her. She's not looking back. That's the whole panel. Omega steps in and gets his entire body ripped apart. Tails salvages Omega's head. That's 5, if you count the robot, and you should. Shadow's fall isn't shock value, it's a character study. His arrogance, the trait that makes him compelling, is the thing that destroys him. The Metal Virus is the one thing in the franchise that proved Shadow wrong. Shadow is gone, Omega is in pieces, and Sonic is running out of time, in every sense. The virus begins mutating. Eggman discovers the Zombots are ignoring his voice commands. The code is evolving with each new infection. Starline warns him. Eggman dismisses it. He built a self-replicating plague with no kill switch, no vaccine, no contingency. The virus doesn't care who made it. The Restoration tries to coordinate relief. Amy is doing everything she can, and it's not enough. Tails heads to his lab in Central City to develop a cure, a way to use sonic speed to vibrate the virus loose at a molecular level. It could work. Then Eggman drops the metal virus on Central City. The lab loses power mid-upload. Zombots break through the walls. The memory chip with the cure data is destroyed. And then there's issue number 23. Sonic has a conversation with Amy where the weight of everything finally shows. He's not cracking jokes. He's not being cocky. He's scared. And then comes the panel everyone talks about. Sonic comes so close to fully succumbing that his irises briefly turn red. Just one panel. The virus almost completing the transformation. He pulls himself back through sheer willpower. 1 second longer and it would have been over. For Sonic, a character who has never shown fear in 30 years, that moment is devastating. When Sonic stops being Sonic, you know the situation is real. More characters fall. Vector holds a door shut with Zombots pushing from the other side, telling SBO to take the survivors and go. 3 panels. First, Vector bracing the door, fully himself. Second, the metal creeping up his arms, still holding. Third, his face half transformed, eyes going blank, hands still on the door. The comic doesn't give him a final line. That's 6. Big and Froggy go down together. Vanilla falls. Jewel falls. That's 10. And then Tangle wraps her tail around as many Zombots as she can and lets them take her. That's 11, and she chose it. The heroes have no cure, no safe ground, almost no one left. And then Starline makes it worse. Panicking at Eggman's refusal to fix the mutation, Starline contacts the Deadly Six, the Zeddy from Sonic Lost World. He brings them aboard the face ship with a plan to use the cacophonic conch to control them, forcing them to command the Zombots electromagnetically. The Zeddy can control machines. Zombots are machines. On paper, it's the smartest move anyone has made in this entire arc. It doesn't work. Starline can't keep blowing the conch. He doesn't have the lung capacity. The Zeddy destroy it. And now Zavok, Xena, Zomnom, Master Zik, Zaz, and Zor are free. In control of the face ship, in control of the Chaos Emeralds Eggman kept on board, and in control of an army that neither Eggman nor Sonic can stop. Eggman, Starline, and Metal Sonic flee to the Angel Island using the Warp Topaz. As they escape, Eggman turns to Starline and says 2 words. Starline, you're fired. The man who lost control of his own virus just fired the one person trying to fix it. Ego over survival every time. Each Zeddy takes an emerald and controls massive Zombot armies across the planet. The heroes split up, each team going after one Zeddy. Cream fights Xena. She holds her own for long enough to reclaim an emerald, but the infection takes her. That's 12. She's 6 years old. 6 Zeddy, 7 emeralds, a planet that's almost entirely Zombot. One plan left, and it requires a miracle. Sonic's infection is almost total. His body is more metal than hedgehog, and Silver realizes something that changes the stakes of the entire arc. His apocalyptic future, the dead world with no organic life that he's been trying to prevent since Sonic 06, might be caused by the Metal Virus. A planet where the virus wins doesn't just stay metallic. Eggman himself admitted the virus is inherently unstable. In 200 years, every Zombot would completely disintegrate. No people, no animals, no plants, just dust. That's Silver's future. They're not just saving the present, they're stopping Silver's nightmare from ever existing. The plan. Super Sonic and Super Silver use the Chaos Emeralds combined with the Warp Topaz to open a portal leading directly to the sun, and teleport every molecule of the Metal Virus through it. All of it, from every infected person on the planet, simultaneously. The solar heat incinerates the virus on contact. If the super transformation doesn't overpower Sonic's infection first, it's over. On Angel Island, it gets worse first. The heroes and Eggman are forced into an alliance. The restoration needs Eggman's scientific knowledge to execute the Warp Topaz plan, and not everyone is okay with that. Whisper, who already lost her entire team to Eggman's machinations before this arc even started, raises her weapon. She wants to end him right here. Amy wants to let her. And then Cream stops it. 6 years old, lost her Chow, lost her mother, lost her village. And she steps between Whisper and the man who caused all of it, and says they need him to save her family. A child choosing mercy for the person who destroyed her life, because mercy is the only path that leads to getting it back. That's the most morally complex moment in the entire arc, and it belongs to the youngest character in the room. Knuckles fights Zombot Shadow and gets infected. Tails gets grabbed by Zombot Cheese and Chocola. Eggman shoves Amy into Zombot Big to save himself, then nearly gets infected when he trips over Zombot Froggy. The man who built the virus almost falls to his own creation through sheer clumsiness. That's 15. Almost nobody left. They gather the emeralds. Sonic and Silver go super. The golden light burns the virus off Sonic's body in real time. You can see the metal cracking and falling away panel by panel. And then they use the Warp Topaz to open a portal leading directly to the sun. The Chaos Emeralds channel their power across the entire planet, ripping the metal virus from every living thing on Earth, every person, every animal, every plant, and teleporting it through the portal. The solar heat incinerates every molecule of the virus instantly. Every Zombot reverts. Metallic shells crack open across the globe. Shadow comes back. Cream comes back. Charmy comes back. Tangle comes back. Tails dances with Cheese and Chocola. Amy and Whisper hug Big and Tangle. The Chaotix sing together. And Knuckles and Shadow, true to form, immediately start arguing with Rouge. The world exhales. After 16 issues of darkness, the comic finally lets you breathe. but the Warp Topaz shatters. The backlash hurls Supersonic across dimensions. He wakes up in Blaze the Cat's world with no memory, calling himself Mr. Needlemouse, a callback to Sonic's real-life prototype name. Blaze restores his memories with the Soul Emeralds. He returns home in issue 32. Nobody walks away clean. Omega needs to be rebuilt. The restoration is in ruins. Every character who is infected remembers what it felt like, aware inside a body they couldn't control. That trauma stays. And in issue number 31, Shadow is alone. For the first time in the franchise, he admits he was wrong. The panel is Shadow sitting on the edge of Angel Island. No other characters, no action. His expression isn't anger. It's the face of someone replaying a decision they can't undo. The comic holds that panel for the entire bottom half of the page. No dialogue. That one quiet image does more for Shadow's character than any game has done in 20 years. That's the Metal Virus Saga. Now here's why it matters more than any Sonic story the games have ever told. The Metal Virus Saga did something no Sonic game has ever done. It put every character in genuine danger for 16 issues with no guaranteed outcome. The games can't do that. You know Sonic wins at the end of every boss fight. The movies can't do that. The franchise is worth $1 billion. Nobody's dying permanently. Comics can, because monthly serialization lets a threat breathe. Readers waited a month between Shadow falling and finding out if the cure would work. A month between Tails losing the cure data and the next plan forming. That waiting is what made it feel like a real crisis instead of a story you already knew the ending to. And the writing earns it, because every beat is a character study. Shadow's fall is about pride. Eggman's loss of control is about hubris. And Starline's panic move with the Zeddy is the single most consequential decision in the entire series. His guilt drives him to create Surge and Kit, which leads to the Imposter Syndrome miniseries, the battle for the Empire, and eventually his own death. One phone call created 4 years of storylines. Ian Flynn originally conceived the Metal Virus for the Archie Sonic comics after issue number 300, before that series was cancelled. When IDW picked up the license, Flynn brought it with him. It was always meant to prove Sonic comics could go to places the games couldn't, and it did. If you've never picked up an IDW Sonic comic, start here, and if you have, you already know. And if you want more deep dives into Sonic lore the games have been hiding in plain sight, check the video on screen, and subscribe, because we're just getting started.